The Catholic Observer has been the official publication of the Diocese of Springfield for more than 50 years. Its inaugural issue was November 19, 1954, featuring greetings from Bishop Christopher J. Weldon. The paper began chronicling the ever-changing Catholic Church from post-World War II to Vatican II, the papal visits of John Paul II and Benedict XVI. More recently, issues surrounding pastoral planning have dominated the headlines. The Observer's pages have educated, entertained, and enlightened generations of Western Massachusetts faithful. I began as a reporter for the paper back in 1986, and we as a staff have worked very hard to produce a vehicle through which people can continue to grow in their knowledge of their faith. Some recall the Catholic Observer being delivered to their homes in the 1950s and 60s. It was a weekly paper back then, and full of interesting information for a then 10-year-old little girl, Peggy Martin, who grew up on Alderman Street in Springfield, right across the street from her Holy Name Grammar School.
I always remember opening to the movie section because it would list what movies we could and could not see and how the USCCB classified them, and I always remember going right away to see what movies were condemned. It just, as a kid, I was like, wow, I wonder what's in those.
That same Peggy Martin would grow up to become Peggy Martin Weber, a reporter and columnist for the Catholic Observer since 1984. She has covered everything from prayer vigils to pierogi pinching to papal masses, each story uniquely telling the faith-filled history of the Diocese of Springfield.
People are always what stands out for me. I just love meeting the many, many interesting people who are so in love with their faith and who work so hard, whether it's in their parish or for the diocese, for God. Sometimes the things that stand out for me are just the little things, like the knitting prayer groups or the spaghetti supper people, or I went to one parish where they're all pinching pierogies. It made me very happy to be able to do that.
Since 1954, the Catholic Observer has been a paper of record for the Diocese of Springfield, recording the milestones as the Church celebrated, mourned, constructed, and evangelized. And while readership has diminished over the last decade, the publication will serve a purpose well beyond the present day, says Terry Hegarty, a reporter since 1999.
It's very important from a historical document standpoint, and it does kind of makes you feel, again, a little more pressure to make sure we're all doing a good job, because there will be most likely people 50 years from now, maybe 100 years from now, reading the work we do today.
Over the years, the Observer has gotten a lot of mileage out of Terry, so to speak. His versatile reporting skills have taken him from the classroom to the operating room. But one of the highlights of his career to date, he says, was when he accompanied a diocesan pilgrimage to Lourdes, France.
When you cover a story like that, there's a little more pressure, because it's such a good story, to actually report it well too. Like, you have that kind of added pressure, like, I know it's a great story, but now I have to relate that to our readers.
Along with the good assignments come those that challenge a reporter. The school and church closings that came as a result of pastoral planning in the diocese, he said, were particularly difficult to write about.
It's just really tough, because in every church there's hundreds of people who have been affected, and it's so emotional, and it is tragic. Some of these buildings, some of these places, some of the communities are lost.
Yet the people in these communities continue to inspire. For Rebecca Drake, editor of The Observer, who came to the paper in 1996, it is precisely these person-in-the-pew stories that are most important to her.
Personally, for me, I interviewed a woman who was dying with Lou Gehrig's disease, also called ALS, and she had an amazing faith. I was humbled and inspired by that story.
That story and countless others have been preserved in newsprint, a form that is dear to some, but trends dictate another direction.
I'm among those, probably in my age group and older, who do like a hard copy of a newspaper on a daily basis to follow up on that. But I also understand that, particularly in a religious media, we need to go with the times. We need to get the message out there every way that is important and accessible to all of the people who may need to hear the message.
The final edition of the Catholic Observer will be the July 2nd issue as we prepare for the September debut of the new magazine, The Catholic Mirror. It's been a good run.